welcome to Why Believe Conversations. My name is Donovan Stokes, and we are at the Idaho Falls Family YMCA, 155 North Corner Street, Idaho Falls, Idaho 83402. These conversations are designed to inform our community of very important discussions concerning where we are in our healthy living, in our youth development. We know we are living in a day and time that is very important that we have the support system around us. And so today, our topic today will be on mental health, suicide prevention, suicide tendencies, etc. And so we have some great people here today. So we want you to be just informed that the information that you receive, although very sensitive, but it's designed in hopes of helping someone perhaps who are viewing this video on today. So thank you for being with us on this wonderful day. We're going to start with Miss Jennifer Anthony. Thank you, Jennifer, for being with us today. She's with Answers, and it is an organization designed to help youth, young adults alike, concerning this topic on mental health. And at this time, we will allow you this opportunity to introduce yourself.
Well, thank you so much. I'm Jennifer Anthony. I'm the Vice President of Operations of Answers, where we offer a variety of counseling services as well as community-based services within our community of East Idaho. We also serve different age groups from young children to also youth and adults and even our seniors.
Next, we have Ms. Peggy Stevens, and she's going to introduce herself, but she is one of our fitness instructors here at the Idaho Family YMCA. So if you're looking to get in shape, I need to take the class myself, but if you're looking to get in shape, she is the person to go to take those classes. So at this time, Peggy, introduce yourself, please.
Hi, yes, I'm Peggy Stevens, and I teach boot camp classes here and weightlifting classes. I am thankful to be here. I hope some of the information that I can put out there to you will help you through different situations. So here we are.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Peggy, for being with us today. And also we have Ms. Cola Anderson. And at this time, Ms. Cola, please introduce yourself.
Yeah, I'm Cola Anderson from Adams Foundation. I also work with Jen at Answers. Kind of all goes together. And I do a mental health awareness suicide prevention foundation here in Idaho Falls.
Thank you so much for being with us. At this time, Peggy, share with us, of course, you had an experience in your family not too long ago concerning mental health and suicide. So would you like to please share with us at this time?
So my son is 28 years old, committed suicide, and there was some signs that we kind of saw. He was going through some depression, not knowing how bad that was. He was out of town, or I should say out of state, excuse me, and he was by himself. He was kind of struggling. They was trying to decide to put him on depression pills, and I think they was trying to get that figured out what he needed. I don't think they ever really did. He was alone, like I said, by himself and didn't have anybody there to talk to. No outreach for him, I don't think. I think he felt very isolated. Like I said, the signs was kind of there, but you never know how far you can push that. I mean, like he was saying, you don't know how deep that is. Is it just a light depression? He was excited about his new job. Different issues like that we wasn't seeing really that intense depression with him. So it was kind of a shock when everything happened. Like I said, not being aware of that.
Ms. Cola Anderson, can you tell us, give us some information about your son?
Yeah, October 28, 2014, he was about 2 months away from being 15 years old. And there was issues, of course, there's always an issue, but as far as talking about the issues he had and suicide, we were very open family, and we always talked about things like that. Yeah, he went to He had left my home to go to his dad's home, and I got a call like within an hour after the incident, and he had gone to his father's and he had shot himself at 14. And there's no age limit apparently anymore, and that's the scary part.
We're definitely sorry for your loss, and so that's why we're here today, right? To kind of talk about this issue that we're having within our society, perhaps within the state of Idaho. I think all of us have been touched one way or the other by someone who attempted suicide or went through the process of suicide or dealing with mental health issues. And once again, thank you for being here today. And so, Jennifer, I have a question for you concerning business. So, what are some of the things that you are seeing out within our community that perhaps maybe motivated your company to be in existence?
I think that we've seen, myself and Cola, when we're working with individuals out in the community, is just a increase of anxiety, depression, and just an overall sense of not worthy of having anything good happening in their lives. And so then they automatically want to just jump right into different ways of harming themselves, or just thinking this is the only way to be out of it. And so with our facility, we want to encourage people to go and seek help and break the stigma. I know that a lot of times mental health was, taboo. We didn't want to talk about those things. And especially since COVID has happened, it's been such an increase that it's being more aware of, like, it's okay to have depression, anxiety, and it's okay to see a therapist, or even have community-based services out in your home and out and about for him.
And that brings a good question when you mentioned COVID, right? Because we back in 2020 we experienced this pandemic concerning this virus or this disease that was that was very contagious, and perhaps is and I don't know about you all, but definitely is not something that I thought that we would experience. But then we saw America go into this social distancing, of course, and isolation. So do you think that has a lot to do with uh, mental health? This aspect of what we experienced, um, and the difficulty of maybe coming out of that experience after it's over.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Isolation is one of the main things to look for. And when you're forced into isolation, I mean, that makes it so much worse. There's no way to get out there, talk to people. And I know we do have telehealth, and that's great. But having that connection,
Person in the room.
the connection is it's vital to having someone be able to feel that connection, and thinking, okay, this person understands. They get it.
Yeah.
And that's very true. Because I know personally, being the type of person I am, it was very difficult to conform to this way of living now. And then I think, in my opinion, although perhaps we are not saying that the pandemic may be completely over, I don't know. I'm not a health physician, but it seems like it's challenging now to get back out of that. So are y'all finding that to be true? That it's difficult now, even after now the isolation have been lifted. Do you still see that there's a great amount of individuals still in that isolated mode?
Yes, definitely. With some of our individuals we work with, that they don't want to get out of bed. They would rather stay in their pajamas and sit on the couch and watch TV most of the days, versus getting out and about and doing things more often.
And can you share with me, Jennifer, the different, because you offer counseling services and case management, peer youth support, CBRS, family support, and targeted care coordination. Can you tell me the difference between each one of those each one of those departments or?
Certainly. So case management and targeted care, they're kind of similar.
Okay,
Targeted care is mainly designed for individuals, for youth that is, they're above the income limits for Medicaid. The community-based services are all covered under Medicaid, the state of Idaho Medicaid program. But the targeted care, they might be above the income limits, and the youth might have a little bit more of a severity of a mental health issue. And so we can get them onto state-funded services without those income guidelines. By case management, we like is, I almost say like a personal assistant. We want to assist our individuals in the community by linking them to resources within the community, state funded, or just churches and everything else like that. Because people are not going to want to work on their mental health or their emotional well-being when they're worried about how to pay their rent, getting food in the cupboards, or how to get themselves to and from their doctor's appointments. And a case manager can assist them with overcoming those obstacles so they can focus on their mental health. CBRS, some people know it formally as PSR. It's very similar.
okay,
It's an additional thing for counseling. You have a individual seeing a therapist maybe for an hour a week, and they're discussing various different skills that they might want to put into place. And then all of a sudden, it's in a calm, very nice environment. But then an individual gets out into their daily hustle and bustle, and they're having a hard time figuring out how can they put those kind of skills to work, and it just doesn't happen. The CBRS would then meet with them in their homes and the community to implement those skills to becoming a habit for them, and so they feel a little more comfortable and confident with themselves. Youth and peer support is very, they're the same, but one just covers adult 18 and over, adults for peer, and of course 13 to 18 is for youth. Those are just an encouragement support system. We have individuals that they've gone through their own mental health issues and have sought assistance and help, and they just want to be there and encouraging these individuals that it's okay, you're not alone. Because a lot of times people feel alone in their own mental health situations. They're like nobody else can identify with themselves. And so they're just there to encourage. And I got that T-shirt too. It's okay. It's great. Family support is also similar to youth and peer. It's encompassing the whole entire family.
okay,
You have individuals that they were a caregiver or a parent to a child that had gone through their own mental health issues, and they want to share their lived experiences of what worked for their family, and to encourage particularly the moms and dads that you didn't do anything wrong, it's going to be okay, and we're gonna help you as time goes on. I know myself and Cola, we are both family support certified. So we go into families' homes and work with the entire family as a
Okay.
whole
it's important.
to, yes, and that's vital, is not just working with the individual, but the family.
Okay. And how long have Answers been in existence?
We are hitting our 10-year mark
Oh,
this year.
congratulations.
Yes, it's
Congratulations.
fantastic.
And then just so you know, we will have information on Answers, location, and we'll have more information online after the segment is over. And so that brings my next question to, because I've heard parents say, or I've heard individuals say, um, I didn't see it. I didn't catch the signs. And so, Peggy, I'm address this question to you. Was there something in Caden's um, life or upbringing that made you say, something is a little different here? And as he matured and became an adult, was there something there that made you maybe think that um, that perhaps Katie needed some help?
Yeah, he wasn't a really outgoing person. He was pretty much to himself. He never really liked big social crowds. He didn't want the spotlight on him. He was very more laid back. He got really nervous when he was around a lot of people, kind of thing. That wasn't his deal. He had friends and stuff, but the few friends he did have was just like maybe a few, but they were really close friends. He didn't have the big gang group hanging around. He really, really enjoyed like skydiving, things like that. I mean, to look at him, you'd think he loved to hike. He loved to do very, very physical. All that. He did not so much in sports like football, things like that. He did play and things but he like his personal things like skydiving, things that he did by himself, hiking kind of things. So it was more with him. It makes you wonder, because he didn't leave a note. So you really wonder, was this something that maybe I did or didn't do? And I'm sure probably every parent that goes through that feels that way. Was there something I missed? Yeah, should have I done something different? Did he need more love? And then you look at it as a parent, I'm thinking, well, I gave him the most love that I thought I could possibly give him. Trying to see signs. He was struggling with some health issues as far as having headaches and different things like that they were trying to get figured out what was causing that. They kind of made him dizzy and different things like that. They really couldn't come up with a solution, what that was. So he was kind of depressed about that because they wasn't coming up with any solution. So he kind of struggled with stuff like that. But like I said, he enjoyed skydiving and that job he was getting. He loved working in the oil fields. I mean, there was a lot of things that I thought was positive in his life that was getting him. You never know where that fine line is. He on that side of it or is he on that side? Of being happy or being content, whatever. But yeah, as a parent, you always feel like, was there something I could have done different? Raised him. I mean, he was a middle child. I mean, I had 6 of them at home. So my first 2 were 10 and a half months apart. So he came right directly after my other one. That was really, really close. But him and my older son were very, very close. Best friends, brothers. I mean, it really tore him apart. But they helped each other through a lot of different issues. And of course, him not being there with him when he was out of state when that happened, to go in the room, they say that people that usually commit suicide isolate themselves and they go to, like he locked himself in the room kind of thing. That's usually not a big to do here, like making a big show about it. They usually just do the quiet kind of thing. But yeah, and being so far away, I was expecting him home in 2 days. So to reach out in those 2 days, I didn't think anything of it. And then I'm not showing up for that. Right. So, but it is hard because like I said, as a parent, you feel like, what did I do wrong? Or, what did I do it? Was it something, was he struggling with mental issue, that I did, maybe even deeper than what I knew. But there was a few signs here and there.
So what about you, Cola? Were there signs or symptoms that you think back now that you missed or things that were obvious or not
No, no. We okay, to understand fully what I'm talking about here, I had just started college to get my degree in psychology. Yeah, that March or April, actually. And it was that same year, October, that we lost him.
Okay.
And the reason I chose psychology was because of the problems that we have, and I've always really been into just that sort of thing. And so, no, I know the signs. I knew, and we talked about it. And
what were some of those signs that you?
The only signs the signs that he might have shown was isolation. Again, that is huge. He was doing school at the it was like a secondary school. What do we call those now?
Junior highs?
No. He was the alternative school.
Alternative.
Yeah, and so he did a lot of his work ahead of time. He was almost straight A's. He'd get done, and then he would have the opportunity to stay home because, hey, I'm done with all my work until the next block starts. So he isolated a lot, and just the situation going on was tough, but we talked about it. We talked all the time. He has 3 older siblings that adore him, and they talked all the time. The issue with my son, I believe, and have been told by several who knew him, who are involved in the same kind of stuff, felt that he did what he did to protect his family from a situation that was going on. And so the signs were there, only in the form of isolation, I guess. He was always happy. He was the one that made everybody laugh. But as we know now, that in itself can be a sign, because the ones who are the most unhappy are the ones who turn to make everybody else happy, because they don't want to see other people feel like they feel. So signs, that's a tough one. There are definitely signs, but they're not universal. Should I put it that way?
Is there a difference between just, having, I don't even know what the right words to use, but is there a difference between just being depressed or being suicidal? Is there a difference between the two?
I think for us, it's that they have that thought, that they want to possibility of ending their life. Depressed, they're just feeling sad, but they're like, no, I don't want to do that. I'm just sad. With whatever circumstances are going on.
There's definitely a difference between having suicidal thoughts and being suicidal.
Correct.
Okay.
But that's the thing. There's such a fine line, and we hear a lot, do we not hear a lot about, well, they're just wanting attention. Okay, but why do they want the attention? If they're seeking attention, let's get to the bottom of why. Let's just brush it off.
Are they crying out though? It's a
Yeah,
cry out. They're
exactly.
crying out for help in that way that, some people don't even really say they don't even say anything about suicide. Well, I mean, and then there's others that's every day, oh, I'm just going to go kill myself. I'm just going to go kill myself. I think, I
Yes.
don't know, I'm not a professional, but I think, is that just a cry out for, I want help, and
I think
kind of thing? Or
I
is it
think
attention?
no, I think that's the thing. Sometimes it is just attention, but who are we to judge?
Right, exactly.
That's why I take everything, anytime anybody says something about, wanting to end their life, or I'm just going to go kill myself, I try to take that very seriously, because a lot of times they'll come back at you and say, well, I would never really do that. How do I know that? I'm going by your statement. But you're right, there are the ones who don't say anything. And you would have never had, like, with my son, I would have never, several even professionals that knew him in that realm, at the alternative school and the school district itself that he went to, said the same thing. He was not somebody they would have seen as vulnerable.
Yeah. See, and my son never talked. In fact, we had talked a lot of times against the suicide thing, because
Exactly.
he knew, I mean, he even make comments about it, about people who commit suicide. Why would you ever do that? That kind of thing. So that fine line, yeah. It's like, why would you? Yeah.
My son had watched a documentary, I guess, about, am I allowed to mention certain names? Celebrities? He was watching a documentary about a certain celebrity with a friend, and one of my friends, and had made that statement that, oh, I would never do that.
Yeah. See, my son did
And
the
that
same
was a
thing.
Saturday or a Sunday, and then the following Tuesday, there you go. So it's literally that.
Yeah. And talking about, like, saying that, like, how not so much, because for them, yeah, it's over. It's a done deal. They're done. Okay, they're out of their misery. But talking about what it does to the family, like the one of us that has to survive and go through that, what it leaves on our shoulders and stuff. And he would say, "Oh, you put the family through that. Never put the." So I mean, we had talked about that. I mean, not him personally doing that, but just the general what the family has to go through, because yeah, they're out of their misery, but
It just transfers
yeah.
to
how it hurts everybody else.
the family. Not that I would never focus on that, because that I do try to mention that, but we want people who are the vulnerable people to understand it is about them. We want them to know that we care about what's going on with them, and we want to help that situation. I won't say fix it because there's no fixing it, but there is hope. There's always, there's another side. There is down the road. There are better days.
And just to kind of share my own personal experience with thoughts with suicide, I think that's why this particular topic resonates with me personally. Growing up in a single family home, being the oldest, the oldest child, can't speak for everyone, but from those that I have talked to, this is a responsibility that the oldest child has as it relates to the other siblings in a single family home. And so growing up, I always thought that my parents' divorce was my fault. They had me when they were very young, and I will often hear, certain comments made, if I didn't have a child, then my life will be better, or I will, whatever my career that I wanted to do wouldn't have been halted because now I have to take care. So I took that personally, and so one day my mother thought that I had left the home to go to school, but I hid in my room, and when she left to go to work, I came out of my room and took a bottle of pills. I thought that eliminating myself would then allow them to pursue their dreams. And so, being a child, I thought that way. Uh, and of course, after I'd done that, uh, something just, I don't know, I just woke up and I just heard a word, and definitely not religious. This is not a segment pushing religion and things like that. But I heard a voice that says, "Live." And I remember I took my toothbrush handle and stuck it down my throat and threw up all of that medicine. And so, and from there, that became my reason to keep going. And so, so my question is, how important are words as relates to a person's self-esteem and mental health? And do you have some examples?
Words are absolutely one of the most important things because it is what you're hearing and how you're interpreting it. Um, it's not about, in 10 years from now, is somebody going to remember Jen's face or Peggy's face? No, they're going to remember how those people made you feel. And how you make someone feel is about how you interact with them, how you talk to them, the words you use, the tones you use. That's I believe one of the reasons we have some of the issues we have is because nobody talks anymore. It's all texting.
100%.
These generations are, and that being said, is also they don't get to go home from school and get away from that. We have Snapchat, we have Instagram, we have texting, we have the excuse me, all that stuff with technology. They don't have a safe haven that they used to. And I know anybody here trying to get your kid to turn their phone off.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, no, but I might miss something. Well, you might not.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Because have you ever been at a table, like a family function, and if you don't tell them, everybody will be at that same table, and they're right next to each other, and they're texting each other. But there's no conversation going on.
I have told clients, one in particular, where I do family support, and that's mom's biggest issue is, well, he's never, I can't get his attention. I said, well, text him.
Yeah,
Literally text him. Whatever he's doing, that's going to pop up. And get off your phone. Talk to me. Because, now you know. Oh, were you trying to talk to me?
Well, see, and I'm still back to the old-fashioned phone method, like it or not. I want to hear, on a text, I can't tell their voice. I can't tell what
Exactly.
they're feeling. I can't tell if they're laughing. I mean, then they put a smiley face. But, there is no emotion there. And I think we've lost a lot of that from the
Technology.
technology. I really do, because you're not seeing their face, or even on the phone call. I mean, even if you video, you can, but you're not getting that. Like, it's just a text. It's just words. Anybody can just do words. I'm not hearing the sound of their voice. And you can tell. Somebody can say the same sentence in a text and talking to them on the phone. You can tell by their voice, knowing them, what is really going on. What are they really saying? Because you can tell by the way they're saying it or the tone of their voice. In a text, you can't get all that emotion's gone. And I think, like I said, losing a lot of that. Even though my son wasn't on a lot of social media, he didn't really get into Facebook, any of that stuff. But even at that, it's just out there. And there's the outreach for these young kids, that's all they do. That's all they know. If I was talking, or if I just text her and said, oh, blah, 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 whatever. And she didn't know if I was joking or if I was serious, because there's no tone of any. And I don't know if that makes sense or not, but to me, that's how I'm seeing it. And that might be a big issue of what's going on, because even the kids that are together, that's hanging out together, they're sitting next to each other, but they're texting each other, or they're on their phone and they're hanging out, but they're really not. They're not like the old fashioned when the girls would all go spend the night and have a big slumber party. There was all the emotion, love, whatever kind of going on. I mean, how much of that do you get anymore? It's just that part of life, I think, has been cut out. And it's just all words. It's just all whatever.
With not just families, or excuse me, not just friends, but with families.
Correct.
Families don't have that connection for the same reason anymore.
I remember personally, even having parents, and some of the issues perhaps that they went through, listening. And have you had any of those situations where you had young people or even adults that said, I remember this is what I remember about these relationships, and maybe there is some correlation between some mental challenges because of it.
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of the things I come across in especially family support is we have lost the art of communication. It's not about, hearing a parent say, well, I told them, and they're like, okay, but it's maybe how you told them. It's not always about the words exactly. It is the tone. Is that child constantly feeling like they're in trouble because you are so stressed out? You're like, you yell all the time, but you don't even realize you're doing it. And I've had some success in parents and children, it's just stepping back and being like, yeah, that's right. I wouldn't want to be talked to that way. Just because I'm the parent doesn't mean I have that right, because they're children, but they're still people. And I think we tend to lose that, especially nowadays, because of the high stress levels and having to have both parents work, and
that's a big thing.
and then there's not the connection that there used to be.
So I think, like you said, the biggest point is taking that time to be involved in their life. Somehow, some way, like, even if you have to cut out something, take that time. If you had the one child too, it's even harder with more, obviously, but take that time to find out, what did you do in school today? What happened? And if they show you a picture, don't just say, oh yeah, that's nice. No, what is this picture? Like, that little bit of extra detail, I think, makes a huge difference. Like, what was this picture about? What was you drawing? Who's this? Kind of take that little bit. And I know it takes time out of everybody's busy schedule, but I really believe that if you can take that couple seconds and say, oh, what does this picture mean? Or what was you drawing? And say, oh, that's a nice picture. Yeah, go hang it. No, what is that? Take that.
It does.
Because there's just none of that in the world. Nothing like it used to be. And parents, I mean, when it was different situations, nothing against parents, both parents having to work. But when the mom could be a stay-home mom back in the day, and I know that's kind of impossible nowadays, but when that could happen and the mother could take that extra time and not be so stressed out and be able to say, let's do this together, or let's do these activities together, kind of thing, and that one-on-one deal. And it's hard nowadays. It really is.
It is.
Because just the way the world is. But
when you have single parents,
right, exactly.
I had one situation where the single mom and she's got a little boy, probably 8 or 9 at the time, and she very high stress all the time. Had mentioned, and we were discussing this, and so why is it when I'm talking to him and I'm calm, he flips out, but when I'm yelling at him, because she would admit that, yeah, I yelled a lot because she's a single mom, she does a lot. That's when he's fine with me yelling. And it's like, well, let's find out where, ask him. So we did. We asked the little boy. He said, well, when she's calm, that's when she's mad. And she's like, no, no, that is not. See, so the communication, there has to be that communication. And they both, especially her, she just bawled because, that realization. And then that's the thing. That's why we do the services we do. That's why I do what I do, is to help people come to that understanding about communication and
And encouragement.
yes,
And demonstrating that each member of the family provides value.
yes.
And importance to their family.
That's very important. How are you doing? Because we are dealing with and it could be somebody that's watching, right, that may be going through this crisis themselves, and sometimes depression because of this isolation. You don't have a tendency, or at least when I was going through it, I didn't think about what my actions would do to the others, right? All I could see is myself.
At first, I think you go through different stages. When it first happens, your reactions are different. And you go up and down. You can get mad. You're so sad. I mean, my first reaction is, and mine was gone. I couldn't be with him. He was, like I said, in Nevada. I personally wanted to be there. I wanted to be there physically. And I could, and then I think you kind of go through you're super hurt. You go through mad stages. You go through I did anyway, through a lot of different emotions. Some emotions come from out of the blue. I don't know. To be honest with you, I even kind of wanted to kind of go through a suicide. I would never do it, but being in the state of mind, I couldn't bear the pain anymore. And I think some people, if they do, when you can't bear that pain anymore, that's what you think you want to do, because that's the way you think you can get out of it and not have to feel pain anymore. I thought about those things. I would never do it. Being in the state of mind I was in, the thoughts cross, but you bypass them, you get through them. Me personally, I'm a Christian, so my values might be different. I won't even get into that, but that's helped me a lot. Having my faith and things like that has gotten me through it. So, yeah, that's pretty much what my deal is.
What about you, Cole?
Well, that's one of the reasons we started the Adams Foundation, AMJ Foundation. That we do is, to me, that's a way of honoring the person he was. He was always helping everybody. It's a way to, I want to say, keep him with me. Of course, I've learned throughout the last few years since we've lost him that he's always here with me either way. But I just try to stay positive. And at first that was really difficult, because you do go through the whole, what could I have done? And there's a series, and sometimes you get through them all of those emotions and those steps. Sometimes you start over. So it's an individual thing, I guess is what I'm saying. It depends on the person. It depends on what you've already been through.
And are there services
It is.
out there
Oh, absolutely.
for families who are going through this?
Yes, that's one of the things that we do at Adams Foundation. I encourage people to reach out. We have tried and are going to try again in the future to do something online through like a video chat, where you can come to us through the link, like you do the Zoom kind of thing.
It's so that's another deal, like being able to have, and another thing that's helped me, I don't know if you have other siblings, but another thing that's helped me get through it is because too, you got to think of kind of keeping an eye on your other sibling, their other siblings, for my other children, what they're going through too, because it's not just about what me going through as a parent. What are their siblings going through? Like I said, my oldest son and him were like, and all of them were super close. I had 6 of them all together, all within a year apart of each other, except for my first 2. But the closeness that they had too, what are they dealing with? So you kind of want to keep an eye on them too, to see how they're accepting what is going on, because it's not just about us. They're suffering too.
My kids were all Adam was my youngest.
Yeah.
And all of my other children are older siblings, those 3. The closest one to him was 9.5 years.
Yeah.
So they're all older. But in my situation, it was almost turned around. I mean, I definitely was very worried about my kids, but they all came to me with, well, now what are we gonna do with mom? Mom's freaking out. Mom's not mom anymore.
Yeah, yeah,
Family is definitely very important, and that is one of the things we have to hold on to
yeah.
so-
Your
keep
family
hold of that
members there.
sanity.
Yeah, have your family members there. That's
And of course, we can go on and on and on about this topic because it's
Oh,
very
yeah.
important and very vital for families who are having this experience. But definitely, just so you know, all of the viewers out there, that there is support. You have 3 individuals here today who work in the services of helping families cope with loved ones who have committed suicide or having some mental challenges. And so we will have that information attached to this video presentation. But of course, if you have any comments or any questions, once this video is posted, feel free to add those information. If you have a loved one, or if you're having some suicidal thoughts and having some depression issues, you can always go to the National Suicide Hotline, which is 1-800-273-8225. That's 8255, if you're having some issues. And so thank you very much for being here today. And of course, this is not designed to answer all of the questions or solve all of the world's problems as it relates to this issue. But I believe that this is a vehicle to carry us and take us to further discussion, which we plan to have more discussion about this topic of suicide and depression and helping people understand that you're not alone, and that and if you're out there and you're listening, you're going through this right now, just remember that there are people who love you, who are concerned about you, who find your life valuable. You're very important to this world. And so, like I said, if you're having problems, I'm going to repeat that number again because I messed up the number the first time. That's the National Suicide Hotline, 1-800-273-8255. And so thank you, Jennifer. Thank you, Peggy. Thank you, Cola, for being with us again. And hopefully that this video helps somebody who are dealing with this issue, and then families such as yourself who are left to cope, right, with the incidents that you experience. And so thank you very much. This is Why Believe Conversations. And I'm going to end with this quote. And this is from Henry Ford. Coming together is the beginning. Staying together is progress. And working together is success. So we are better together, and we thank you again for being with us today.
Thank you for having us, Donovan.
Thank you.